Hey, what is up everyone? Kilrian here bringing you another video, and this time we're going to be talking about a Genshin Impact video. Basically, there is a current event going on within the game that's going to be running for about 2 more weeks, of which they are going to be giving us a free, well, arguably free, 4-star unit. Now, for a lot of people who are playing Genshin Impact, being a free-to-play game, they don't want to put money into the game, and so every time that a new free character that comes out, it's extremely important that they pick the one that is best for their account. I wanted to review those characters and kind of give my take on where they can be, their strengths, their general weaknesses, and see what character fits best for your account. If you need characters that are supports, we're going to be going over that. If you need characters who are your new primary DPS, we have options for that as well. And for those of you who have been stopping by the stream, whether that be on Twitch or on YouTube, because I streamed to both, I appreciate all the support that y'all have been giving me recently. It's been awesome. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the event. You can find the event under, if you press tab and go to the left hand side here, the lantern right. Now the specific thing that we're going to be talking about is Stand By Me. Stand By Me, after you get 1,000 peace talismans, you can invite any of these 6 characters to join your team. You obtain the peace talismans by doing the little tower defense game, which honestly has been an awesome experience or addition to the game, and I hope that they do more events like this in the future. So, first and foremost, we are going to be looking at Zhang Ling. Now, Zhang Ling is a great character all in all, whether that be a carry character or a support character. If you have cleared the Abyss as of late, or, up, I think, through floor 3, you do get Zhang Ling for free. Now, with that in mind, she can be utilized as a carry character if you put something that's a physical damage dealer, or dealing, what's it called? Like a physical damage dealing pole arm. For example, what I would recommend is like the Festering Fang here with the Dragon Spine Spear that you get for clearing or a portion of the winter area. You also have the free-to-play spear, which is a physical damage spear as well, both providing or making her a great addition as far as a carry character. But once again, she is a character that you are guaranteed. In terms of her constellations, she does provide great pyro support, even with C1, giving a pyro res reduction whenever she's using her E skill. And you can utilize her in free-to-play, dropping E and doing like a Nemo Traveler and using the ultimate. So you can make the Gyoba Tornado, as some people say. Next up is going to be Zen Yan. Now, Zen Yan is one of the newest additions as far as 4 stars go, of which is another pyro character. She's a little interesting because she is one of the, or basically the only pyro true support character. She does have the ability to do very, very high burst with her Rift Revolution, being her ultimate. However, most people would utilize her for her E, Sweeping Fervor. This makes it to where she can apply a shield onto your character while also dealing intermittent pyro damage. This is a shield that scales off of defense, so she's more unique in terms of being able to gear. So if you enjoy the aesthetic of her or are looking for a pyro support character to provide more tankiness to your team, Zen Yan might be a decent choice. Next up, we're going to be looking at Chong Yoon. Now, Chong Yoon is our popsicle boy, one of the few cryo characters, or one of the original cryo characters to the game, who isn't really much of a carry character, I would say. He is definitely more of a support. His E drops a field onto the ground, making it to where any of your characters are applying cryo damage. This is great if you're needing to break shields within the Abyss, specifically electro shields, along with his Q being a AoE cryo damage kind of launch that is really, really good at breaking electro shields. That's the primary value that I see out of Chong Yoon for the most part, unless you are going for a freeze comp, which you would need both Xing Chui and Chong Yoon to truly accomplish. I wouldn't particularly say he's a great character in terms of carry potential, given that both his E and his Q are like fairly long cooldowns, and it's kind of hard to just generally build or get cryo energy. So you need a bit of energy recharge on him to also make it better, or you need a lot of constellations on him to get things such as this one here. When he's ultimating, or his Q ability, you get a less cooldown reduction on, or cooldown whenever you're fighting within his field, which is kind of cool in my opinion as a whole. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Beto. Now, Beto is, in my opinion, the most fun character in terms of like this list as a whole, in my opinion, because she can be both a carry character, a support character. She has a skill that makes her tanky for the most part, and all in all, the mechanic of her E, which is Tide Collar, it is a counter skill. Meaning when something is attempting to hit you, you time your counter properly, and all of a sudden you're doing a pretty massive amount of electro damage back to it, while also, you know, essentially blocking the damage, which is really, really cool in my opinion. That kind of counter play style makes it really fun to actually play Beto and as a primary carry character, or even just hopping over to her as a partial DPS, where you go in, you hit E once, and then you swap back to your other character. Another thing that makes her really great as a support type character is her Q ability, Stormbreaker. This basically makes it to where every single time you're doing an attack, it will do a lightning discharge, both applying the electro feature, so if that procs overload, or if that procs, like, you know, electro with wets, or if that procs superconductor, like, you can basically have this continually like chain proc a whole bunch of lightning damage that just kind of adds DPS to your primary character. All in all, like I said, I think with her general playstyle and her flexibility, she is one of the characters that I would honestly consider grabbing if you don't have her purely for like fun purpose. And in my opinion, she looks pretty good. Next up, or the last two that I'm going to be talking about, are, in my opinion, the best two out of the entire list, depending on what you're needing or what you're looking for. First, I'll go ahead and talk about Ninguang. Ninguang is a character that you've seen in the story and everything like that, who is a primary carry. She is a primary carry geo damage, which is universal, meaning that it's great at breaking shields and everything like that. She has a unique mechanic in terms of her charged attack, or her auto attack, making it to where she generates these things called star jades, and then you charged attack to release all these built up star jades to do just pretty massive damage. So it's not just like you sitting there like left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, like the whole time necessarily. Like, you want to build up and then release type deal. She has great utility in regards to her jade screen. This is a literal wall that drops down, and I don't know how many of you have failed the Abyss, or, you know, failed to get 3 stars in the Abyss due to one random unit standing in a corner off in Narnia who just is firing arrows off at the little protected thing that you're trying to save. I've definitely failed quite a few, and this blocks every bit of that damage essentially. And then her ultimate just being a massive geo nuke. Massive geo nuke. Like, basically tons of different like star jades like fly out from her. They're honing, so like it's not something that you necessarily have to be good at aiming, or like, you know, you don't have to be good necessarily to utilize Ninguang very, very effectively. So all in all, she is a solid character if you are in need of a carry character. I would say her, along with Geo Traveler and like the recent Geo buffs as a whole to the, to Geo, makes her a extremely strong choice if you need some form of carry character. And lastly, my number one pick, if you already have a carry and are looking to just really amp up your damage or amp up your elemental mastery or elemental reactions, Xingqiu. Now, Xingqiu is pretty insane because what he does is he provides not only damage reduction for your team, right? Damage reduction can be gained from this is 24%, so massively reducing the amount of damage you take, while also applying hydro damage and chain hydro damage from his rain cutter. So every single time your character, your active character, does a normal attack, it all of a sudden procs this hydro sword, which then provides the wet effect, which then allows you to vaporize, which is the basically the meta. So if you have a Diluc, if you have Bennett, if you have, I mean, even Zhang Ling, if you have Klee, if you have any fire character, all of a sudden, every single time in between your auto attacks and everything like that, you're applying the wet and applying vaporize, which basically doubles your damage. It's crazy. On top of that, the fact that this procs 3 swords, and you could put something like a sacrificial sword on him to make it to where it resets, you're not only providing extreme tankiness to your primary carry, you're also adding a ton of DPS through his ultimate. And as a whole, I just find him, I don't personally don't like the look of the character, but in terms of his utility, he is up there with Bennett. I know that's kind of blasphemous to say, but like in terms of actually assisting DPS and everything, and if you're running any kind of electro, whether that be like, let's say you got Kaching, let's say you got Diluc, you know, let's say you have Fischl. If you're running any character that can cause active, like a lot of elemental reactions with the wet effect, it is huge. Absolutely massive, like, damage increase for any team. With that in mind, like I said, the 2 main characters that I would encourage, and this is, once again, if they fit within your team, if you need a carry character, then you can run Ninguang, right? If you need a support DPS character who can be utilized, you know, with a like fire team or an electro team, then Xingqiu is your play. Those are my opinions. Both Ninguang and Xingqiu do not need constellations to be effective. One thing to point out with Ninguang, her C1 constellation makes it to where her auto attacks are AoE, kind of like Klee. So if you have Sucrose grouping up stuff, then all of a sudden her auto attack and her charged attack all of a sudden start nuking in an AoE field. But anyway, guys, I just thought that this would be a decent video or an informational one for everyone who's kind of stuck or thinking about what they want to do with the, you know, with the new event and what character that they should pull. Because anytime that you can get a new character, I would recommend it because it just expands and opens up the gameplay. For the most part, any of the characters, you don't need constellations. In my opinion, get a new character, enjoy the game, and hopefully you'll find this informational. Once again, it would be appreciated if anyone decides to stop by on my streams, that be it on YouTube, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or on Twitch. I stream to both simultaneously. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. I will catch y'all next time. Peace, peace.